Welcome back to Peaking into Success podcast. This is episode 7. Today we have a man who has basically revitalised Sadler and trying to bring life into Sadler and the businesses around there with his own business and clothing brand. Mr. Shaw is doing an amazing thing. So if you're passing by Sadler make sure you go in. There's a cafe and bar in there as well as his clothes shop, so you can check all of that out, and you'll hear him talk about this on the podcast today, as well as in the description below. We will have his crowdfunder, so please go and support that, as he's at 5k already, and we want to push that so he can succeed and make the plans to the building that he wants to do. I hope you enjoy listening to it. So today I'm joined with Karl, otherwise known as Mr. Shaw. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you very much. How's yourself?
Good, thank you. So we're currently in your shop, aren't we? So this is the first time I've kind of experienced it. Do you want to kind of explain what the shop is, first of all?
Okay, so yeah, it's a multi-purpose shop, really, venue. I think probably the first of its kind in Derby. We've had pop-ups with our clothing range previously, but this is a new experience. So we're like culminating craft beers and coffees, so it's a multi-purpose venue. So yeah,
brilliant. So of course, what was the first thing that came? Was it the clothing brand, or was it kind of having a coffee shop and events place?
So yeah, certainly the clothing, because we've been online now for a good 7 years.
Okay.
So yeah, currently online, and I'd say we had pop-ups over the last 2 years on Sadler,
okay,
which have been relatively successful. We've had tough COVID time, so
of course
we knew, I think, as an independent brand, that clothing wouldn't be enough, and that we needed to offer something else. And 5 years ago, I had in my head, I wanted to like sell craft beer, because I really like that experience as well. And yeah, marrying the two together. So.
Brilliant. So of course, we kind of briefly mentioned the fashion. So of course, do you want to explain how the brand was created, and of course what the brand is called?
Okay, so yeah, the brand is called Mr. Shaw. I suppose let's start there. The Mr. Is really a nod back to the gentleman's kind of side of things. So I like to call it like the modern gentleman, basically. Okay. We kind of lost, I think, that in society a little bit.
100%.
So that's where the Mr. has come from, keeping it simple. So how this started, so my background is I'm a graphic designer.
Okay.
By trade. I design brands and been doing that for 25 years.
Okay.
And say, was it 7 years ago, roughly 7 years ago, or before that, I basically got ill. I got Crohn's disease.
All right.
And obviously I've been working for clients doing the graphic design for a long time. And when I got ill, I was in hospital quite seriously for about 2 weeks. So that's where my initial idea came from, to start the clothing brand.
Okay.
I think I was thinking, I want to do something for myself. So when you do graphic design and branding, it's mainly a brief from the client. You execute that for them, and and that's how it goes. Whereas yes, I wanted to do something for myself, and I love tangible things, materials and colour.
Okay.
That excites me. And obviously the digital era was coming. So within graphic design, it's all going digital.
Yeah.
So kind of, not that I've lost love for it, but it's not what I started out in. And I started out with design for print, so it's papers and textures again, things like that.
Okay, yeah.
Tangible things, yeah. So I was thinking, I love fashion. So I started, my first ever project was I designed a heritage range for Derby County.
Yeah.
Because obviously I love Derby County. And I wanted to design t-shirts that a fan could wear and still be passionate and know that it's a Derby County t-shirt, but to the onlooker it just looked like a fashion t-shirt.
100%, yes. So
that was my initial design. I did 4. I did like the retro legends, I called it, an 80s, 90s version,
yeah,
and then a mixture one, which is based around like the C stand and
okay. Were they sold in the shop, or like in the Derby shop, or were they just sold by you? So...
Just by me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I set up a website specifically for those t-shirts.
Okay.
And I think when I launched it, I think we're in the playoffs, with the playoff season, Obviously, it was all in Telegraph, and it just went out like I did 100 of each, and it pretty much sold out.
Oh, wicked!
Within 3 or 4 months. I'm thinking, I think I've got something here. And like I say, I never really approached Derby County about selling it. People did tell me to.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to disassociate myself with it a little bit because I want it to be a fashion brand rather than a football kind of...
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? You're like a replica style, you know. So yeah, if anything was going to happen, I'd say to them, can I develop a range which sits within your shop, but it's Mr. Shaw's heritage range?
So more of a collaboration than a kind of... You're making it for them. You don't want to be. You want to be your own entity, basically.
Exactly. Yes.
So of course, at that point, was it called Casual Sophistication, or was it just you were releasing these 4 shirts at that moment in time?
So yeah, that moment in time, it was just I was just known as the Derby County T-shirt guy. But yeah, after that, I was like, okay, let's get serious with the mainstream kind of fashion brand. So I developed. Like a capsule of about 7 items.
Okay.
And then that's when I had to think, what is this that I am actually developing? How do I explain this to somebody? And I've always said, I won't develop loads and loads of products. What I want to do is quality, high-end materials. So you can wear it to work, but you still wear it out at night and be comfortable as well. So it's
100%.
kind of that crossover. And obviously when we had COVID and things like that, casual clothing became quite a thing, didn't it? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone just wanted to be comfy. It was kind of like t-shirt and shorts, and I mean, during COVID we had really nice weather, so you want to be comfortable. You don't want to be sweating. And what I've noticed with a lot of your range, is I've had a look through it, is that I think it fits the festival brand, and kind of we're moving into that now. And of course, we have quite a lot around Derbyshire, so I feel like your brand is local, but also fits into the things that are going on around the city, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So the brand was created, and then when did the pop-up shops come? Was it website and then pop-up shops, or did you do the pop-up shops during like the Derby era of the 4?
So we did when I did the Derby County shirts, we did a very small pop-up, and it was in the Guild Market, so the Guildhall Market, back before it was closed down for the roof renovation. That was around Christmas time, I can remember, because it was absolutely freezing. There was no heating in there at all. And again, so we'd got the Derby shirts, and that's when I just started to introduce the mainstream t-shirts and a few hoodies and sweats. So it's still quite a small range. So yeah, the website definitely came first.
Brilliant.
We tested the water, that pop-up. That went well. But then with the design agency as well, it was split to my time. So obviously the design agency pays the bills at home and looks after the family. So for years, within those 7 years, it dipped up and down for me because I couldn't give it full focus. And I'd say it wasn't till COVID time, probably before, we went, right, we need to find another pop-up. And that was a real challenge in Derby to find somewhere would actually even though there was loads of empty shops. Yeah,
it's because it's for a small period of time.
Yeah, and there's just restrictions and the policies and insurance that people are like, we just didn't want to entertain it.
Okay.
So someone helped me. I put out a big plea, and someone came to help me. Russell Rigby, actually, he's a commercial estate agent.
Okay.
And he's been trying to help out the council and regenerate the area.
Nice.
So we just walked around town, and wherever there's an empty unit, we just rang up the estate agent outside and just said, can we have your shop? So we tried about 6 of these people, got lucky with about 3.
Okay.
And then it was like, this is what we want to pay. Is that all right? And then luckily, Doc Martin's store, which is next door to this one.
Yes.
We got that one, for a month.
Nice.
And that's how it started.
When the pop-up shops kind of came around, did you make more of a kind of more of the t-shirts, more different varieties of sweatshirts and stuff to put into the shop, or did you go, we're going to go minimal, and then you kind of added to it?
Yeah, it gave us the opportunity to produce more items.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was worried at that time, thinking, it's not a huge space, but we need to fill it a little bit more than what we've got at the moment.
100%, yeah.
So it aided it, and it was just a breath of fresh air for me, because having people come in and having a physical space, it's very much again like what I like. It's dealing with people and bringing people in and chatting to them.
That's it.
They can touch the items, and I think I'd say a good majority of guys want to try something on or touch and feel it.
This is it. I mean, the thing is, with a lot of things now being online, if it's wrong, a lot of people can't be bothered to send it back. But if you can go in, have a look at it, be like, oh, I like that, try it on, people are more likely to be like, yeah, I want this, and buy it, where you can browse something for hours on the internet and it just be a tab on your laptop. So I kind of like the feel that you can come in, you can have a look. Like, I've browsed around, I kind of been like, oh, I kind of like a few bits, especially I like the bucket hats. But kind of I like that, and I like the feel that you've gone, you said the pop-up was in Doc Martens, which now you're next door to, so you kind of built up your brand from being a pop-up shop to an actual store, all on Sadlergate. So is there kind of a connection to you to Sadlergate, or? Yeah,
definitely. It probably stems back because obviously I'm an artist kid, so obviously I was around when Sadlergate was buzzing. And I think there's this inner flame inside of me trying to want to reignite what was down here, basically.
100%.
And when we had that pop-up next door, there was 14 vacant units on Sadlergate at that time. So you look at it now, and there's probably about 4 or 5.
Yeah, 100%. It has.
And it's weirdly, I've taken on this kind of captain's role. Imagine being the captain on a football pitch. It's kind of I want to champion the street, and if it's me who's going to kind of get everyone going and get it going again, I want to be that brand to help it, because we're a community brand and we're a family loyalty brand. That's what I think. In some brands, it's all about, I developed it because it's cool and I want a brand, I want a fashion brand. For me, it's about everything that's good in a family and loyalty and everything around that. I want it to have a purpose and a real person behind it, not just a celebrity or whatever.
100%, yeah.
And I'm not a tailor designer as such. I didn't go to university and study fashion, but I understand design because I've been a brand designer for 25 years. So I understand shape, colour, alignment, shape, detail. It's everything I've always trained to do. So all I am doing now is put it into clothes, but then giving it a personality and a purpose.
100%. And I mean, you've touched on the kind of family business, which we don't really see now. Like, as you walk through town, it's just kind of like your bigger shops, and you don't really see them family-run shops like your fruit stores and stuff, and we've lost like the Eagle Market now. You've mentioned family, kind of who is behind the business, and is you're the head honcho, as you say, but who else is involved in the business and what are their roles?
So my good wife Emma is involved, and my daughter now she's got a degree in fashion.
Okay.
And so she's come over now since opening the shop permanently. She's come over now, so she's going to be sort of head of sort of the shop, managing it and things, and sorting out the clothes. And Emma's looking after the whole business side of it. She obviously still does all the FD stuff for the design agency, which obviously is just 2 people now. Obviously in the agency, I used to have like 6 people, but it's just to put that into context. So yeah, so it's not an agency, but it's weird, I don't know. You still call it that, but anyway, so there's Emma and Molly basically. So we're a threesome, and I've got a thing about 3 as well, the power of 3. And as you'll notice, I've got 3 lines in the S and things like that. It's kind of it's a sequence in my life which kind of I hope to help to formulate things.
Okay, brilliant.
So all 3 of us are a tight knit unit. We don't fall out actually.
Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some serious stress, obviously, with the money here, and obviously we'll touch on that in a bit. But,
of course.
But yeah, so yeah, Emma, me, and Molly, and yeah, Emma glues us together. Because I'm the creative and I'm all over the shop. And all these ideas, and like, well, let's do this, let's do that, and then she's pulling me back down again, saying, right, okay.
But that's what you need. You need people with different kind of characteristics to kind of bring it to life, because everyone's kind of let's run and go with it and kind of be like hit and hope.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get to where you are now, because you've got the different aspects of everyone and the characteristics that make it more kind of family orientated. If you're all in the shop, you're kind of joking and laughing around, people can see that, people can feel that connection to you and to the brand. Is of course that's what's connected. And I mean, with the 3 lines, people looking at it would just think, oh, he's just decided to use 3, it looks cool, or it makes the brand look a bit bigger than just 1 line, where you've kind of given it meaning, which is more personal. And I mean, a lot of people can kind of relate to the power of 3 and things like that, and a lot of things work in 3, so I kind of like that. Moving on, of course, you've got the shop now, and you've got, of course, a cafe and the shop running together in unison at the moment. I know, of course, you've got more floors, so what's kind of the breakdown of, if you can, what you do next, what the plan is for the shop going forward?
Okay, so this building's been only been used on the ground floor level, and it's literally, it's got 4 floors if you include the basement.
Okay.
So my idea is, and us as a family, is to bring this building back to life, because the first floor and the second floor have not been touched for good 30 years. And still the name of the former chairman of the company, which was Lonsdale Travel, Stuart Webb, his name's still on the door upstairs. So that's really? how old it is. And it's a horrible brown colour as well, and it's like a diarrhea colour. It's been a fashion back then, interior design wise. But so the idea is to convert the first floor into a design studio, and one will be a stock room.
Okay, nice.
And Mr. Shaw's kind of room, and then the 2 top rooms we want to convert so I can rent them out to 2 creative businesses.
Okay.
Because ultimately, I want it to be a creative hub, so whatever that may mean. So obviously I love music, so I'm going to have music events here.
Nice.
I want creative meetings here, or we might even have a live drawing session up there. Whatever it is, if a creator comes to me and says, Carl, I'd like to use your space for something, I'm just all ears.
Yeah.
I want this building alive, and I want it alive with people, and I want them to connect. Because again, Mr. Shaw is about connecting people.
That's it.
You know, and I run a house music night, I do 4 times a year. And it's based around 90s house music, and that again is connecting people, bringing people back again with a good vibe, and this is what I want from Mr. Shaw's house, basically.
Brilliant. And I mean, I like that, of course, you've got the vision, you know where it's going, and that kind of leads on to, of course, the big crowdfunding that you've currently got on. So, of course, I know that you've passed 4,000 in the last couple of days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So kind of, what does that 4K bring to Mr. Shaw's house, firstly? And secondly, kind of, with all the money, and if people donate a little bit, what does that affect to you, and what does that mean to you?
So I'm very honest and open and transparent, and the money side, we took this project on, you know, we had a certain idea about what things may cost.
Yeah.
But it's literally just run away with us. We have to have a new roof on the toilet area. Everything has to be stripped back, you know, and damp proofing down in the cellar, lintels removed to make it all safe. And then you've got, you know, electrics, plumbing, plastering, you name it. It's needed at a bar. But so basically, a lot of this money is we owe to traders.
Right.
As well,
Okay.
We were able to pay them up to a certain point, and then it's been hard not to get the rest of them, but they've been lovely with us and seeing what we want to do with it. So
brilliant.
I think that's what I get quite emotional about, actually. Good honest people helping us still, but it's just got relentless. So like CCTV in the building, you know, that's $4,000.
Yeah, so literally the amount you've raised just covers CCTV, which is kind of like, on the grand scheme, is like a little tiny piece, like a small percentage of what you need to do.
Yeah.
So of course, hopefully people listening to this can kind of understand and kind of back you and support the brand, even if they're coming in and buying like a coffee for a couple of £. that's still going towards, it's not going into profits, it's going into making more of the space and making it more accessible for everyone, I assume.
Yeah. First and foremost, if they, like say, you can pledge £5 for a coffee and cake. I believe it's a good space, so if they come in and have a coffee and cake and have a lovely experience, that's what I want. Another place for them to come in the city and feel proud of. And then, like I say, moving forward, like I did a video the other day, we literally had like one person in till 1 o'clock, so that was just one latte, and how expensive that coffee machine is. We've invested in that, a good machine, a good coffee, and then obviously you've got your overheads.
So your like electricity, your staff, everything,
Yeah,
100%. I'm going to go kind of on a different route now. So of course, if you went all the way back to the beginning of the 7 years, is there anything, of course, that you do differently? So maybe start the project sooner, or is there anything that's been a massive learning curve for you that's made you change how you work and how you're operating the business now?
I think with the fashion industry, it's very kind of money hungry, and I think a lot of people just chuck a lot of money at it and grow fast. I think me being a creative, I think what's made it more difficult is because I've got an agency, a graphic design agency, so I couldn't really chuck my full time into it. I think I'd like to have had more time on it earlier on to develop it a little bit more. But obviously, because I'm a thinker, I like things to evolve organically and let things settle in my mind and make sure I'm happy with the way that direction's going. So with this extra time, it's given, this business has not paid me a penny yet, by the way.
No.
It's not paid me a penny in those 7 years. Everything's been reinvested back in again to build where we are now. And probably I'm a great believer in fate and where we are now. I'd have said, 7 years ago, I'd love a shop down Sadler. I'd love that. So it is odd that we're here.
Yeah.
So I kind of wouldn't change anything. All I'd say is I'd prefer more time for me to plan a little bit more with it earlier on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think, and I think some people have more security money-wise to go at it, whereas I've never really had money, whatever we earn, we just live, we live a humble life. It's not like, some people go, you've got your own business. It's not like that.
They don't see the actual, unpaid hours that you have to work to get to where you've got to. Is I assume, someone doing a 9 to 5, they do the work when they get home at 5:30. They're not thinking of it where you probably go home tonight, you're like, this or this design, or we need to do this tomorrow. You're always thinking about the business and trying to push the business on, which is positive but also draining on yourself, I assume.
At the moment, it's multiple things at the moment.
So my last question, if there's someone that's kind of maybe 18, 19 wanting to build a brand like yourself, what advice would you give to them to build the brand?
Have purpose. Really have a purpose behind it. I think if you just think you want to do it because it's cool, it'd be a nice thing to do, and look at the figures as well, because it's, like I say, it's very money hungry, and you can waste a lot of money quickly. So have a plan, start off small, just have a small capsule of products, and in your head always it's like, I know X amount of people, they'll buy it. And you've got your friends and extended friends and family, so it starts off like that and everyone contributes and buys, but it's then where you go from there, and that continuous
exactly
thing.
That growth. So nicely to wrap it up, of course you mentioned your website, you've mentioned the store. Do you want to kind of give the address of the store and also web address where people can find you, the crowdfunding, just so people can kind of give or support you in any way possible?
So obviously we're 49 Sadlergate, so we're positioned pretty much central, I would say. If anybody knows the Vines, which is quite synonymous with Sadlergate, we're just 2 down from that basically. And yes, we can, if obviously our clothing website is mrshaw75.co.uk.
Brilliant.
And people always ask what the 75 is, and it is my birth year.
Oh, okay.
So it's, we say like, created in 75 rather than established, as a person, bringing it back to the people thing again. So that's why I did that. Crowdfunder, you can find us, I think we're called, it's Mr. Shaw's Raise the Roof.
Okay.
Mr. Shaw's House, Raise the Roof, I think it is. So if you put that in, we'll pop up. And please just pop in. We're a family orientated business. Come and have a coffee or a beer. We'll have a chat, and hopefully we can bring you into our family.
Brilliant. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully people will come down and support you and get you to your target. It's
37k, which obviously for us is like, we were advised to do this. We wouldn't have done this if there was another option, but financially we're basically on our knees, and if we had to survive another couple of months, then we need this money to stabilise us basically, or Mr. Shaw on Sadlergate just disappears.
There we are. So I think you've sold it perfectly, so thank you for coming on, and hopefully people will hear this and come in. Brilliant. So thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Peaking to Success podcast. If you enjoyed, please make sure you follow us on Spotify as well as Instagram, where you can see all the updates of who is coming up, as well as who has already been on the podcast, as well as Twitter, where there is information and interaction from me on there as well. Thank you.